Friday night's win over the New York Liberty saw Courtney Vandersloot put together one of her absolute best games of the season. She led all scorers with 23 points and also led everyone in the game with assists as well with 9. And she also had 0 turnovers to go with all of that. So that just speaks to the overall level of dominance, the overall feel, how she was seeing the floor, and just the overall level of efficiency that she was able to produce at as well. Also in that game, she also amassed 12 points in the third quarter and also had 6 in the fourth, coming up with multiple clutch buckets and clutch assists and clutch defensive plays as well. So we're going to go ahead and put her game under the scope for this episode here. All right, we're going to start with this first play here. So the New York Liberty were going under all initial ball screens regardless of who the ball handler was for the Chicago Sky. And then they would go over if there was a second ball screen that was involved in any situation. So this first play is going to see the Sky go with their rescreen action, and then we're going to watch what Courtney Vandersloot does to generate an advantage out of it. All right, break this one down. So she's getting ready to come off this screen. Emma sits and she's in good position to set the first one. However, like I mentioned, New York's going under all initial screens. They get the over. And then watch how Courtney recognizes that she gets the over, takes the advantage with having 2 on and dragging that out as absolutely far as she can to create as much distance as possible for Emma Meeseman up here to hit this shot just above the elbow. Look at the distance on the catch. She's wide open. That's with a timely pass, and that's a clean look to start the game for the Sky. All right, so there were multiple moments throughout this game that I tweeted that I felt like Courtney Vandersloot was truly back. Like she was back for the game against the Aces on Tuesday in the Commissioner's Cup Championship, but we could tell that she was kind of maybe like a half second or so behind as far as her processing speed and just off a general feel and being a point guard or a player in general that plays off a feel. That's the space that you definitely want to be in. So we could tell in multiple instances that she was back in Friday's win. So here was one of the early signs that showed that for me. So off of this offense, or after this defensive rebound, off of field, she's gonna take 2 dribbles, and after the first one, her head's already up, looking to see if there's a hit-ahead option, understanding that the ball is faster than any player on the court, especially in transition, to generate advantages. So she got her head up as she grabs the board. There's one dribble, and then it's by the second dribble, she's already getting ready to let this thing fly. Her spouse, Allie Quigley, who's going to put on the absolute beautiful display of finishing with her left hand here. Again, no dribble for Allie after the catch. It's just catch after a great pass, catch, 1, 2, and a great left hand to finish this basket in transition. It's absolutely beautiful play. That's gorgeous, and that's also a very tough finish from Allie there, too. All right, so another similar situation here, coming off a rebound. I'm going to let it flow through, and then we'll run it back. Nasty, nasty. All right, so let's run this one back. So the Sky put 2 on as they hedge on Sabrina coming off of this ball screen, and then they do a good job with the backline rotations with Emma taking over for Azaree's initial assignment, and then as Howard shakes up to be an outlet for the pass after the dribble was terminated, Courtney Vandersloot's tasked with defending her, and she does a great job sliding her feet, redirecting, and then getting a good hand in there to alter this release on this shot attempt from Howard as much as she can, given the size and height differential in this mismatch. So she does a great job with that, and then she also does a great job staying in the play to grab the rebound. And it's best when your point guard is getting the rebound because that's typically your best playmaker, even though the Sky have multiple great playmakers. But Courtney does a great job here grabbing the board, and then she takes again like the last play we broke down. 2 dribbles, her head's up off the first one, finds an option to hit, and she throws an absolutely gorgeous no-look pass right here to Rebecca Gardner. Like, look at this. This is absolutely beautiful. Hits her right above the head in great position and with great timing to finish this. Now, Rebecca does miss this, but Z is there to clean this up, so No harm, no foul. The highlight's not there, but the play was made nonetheless. It's a beautiful play from Courtney Vandersloot. All right, this next play here. So like I mentioned in the opening frame, the New York Liberty were going under all initial screens, regardless of who the ball handler was for the Chicago Sky. And I spoke with Courtney after the game about this, and I could tell in her response to the question, as far as how they were guarding her, that the unders from the Liberty were kind of annoying her because she's a natural playmaker, so she wants to make that play first. However, when they're going under, being the capable and able shooter off the dribble that she is, it kind of tugs at that balance that she tries to have, seeing so many unders and trying to fight that urge to pull up off of that initial under. So she found a great time to finally, take a shot at countering that action from the defense, and she's gonna hit. She's gonna pull up for a hit from deep here on the under from Crystal Dangerfield after a great drag screen and transition from Ruthie Hebert, and knock this down and take full advantage of this opportunity. Splash. All right, so here in the second half now is where the fun began. Like I mentioned in the opening, she had 12 points in the third quarter, and she had a lot of rim pressure, paint touches, and making plays for herself or generating advantages to kick out the teammates off of that action. Just serving as the focal point of the offense. So I'm going to let this one play through, and then we'll run it back. All right, absolutely beautiful read and react. So I've tweeted about this after the game early Saturday morning. The Sky went to their Spain pick and roll out of their motion offense 3 separate times, and on each of those three, they scored successfully. And they also went to a different option every time. So I believe this is the second time in the third quarter that they went to this. So we're gonna watch them flow into, like I said, their motion offense. So we're gonna get a DHO here, and then Allie's gonna swing it to the second side for Emma, and then Emma's gonna go over to Kai. And as Courtney comes off of this stagger here, this double stagger, they're gonna flow into the Spain action after it's disguised. Allie's behind Emma's check, and after Courtney comes off of the screen, Allie's gonna screen for the screener. It gets kind of mumbled up here. As you can see with Courtney coming off the screen, you see she has the attention of 4 sets of New York Liberty players, which is exactly what you want. However, she's looking at on this dribble drive after trying to create an advantage, seeing how much attention she has, that Stephanie Dawson is over helping here. And she's giving up, conceding that strong side corner to Azurine Stevens, who's shooting over 40% from the corners this season. So as Courtney recognizes this in real time, feeling how much attention she has on her, she takes the extra dribble to get north towards the basket to generate the extra help and the over help from Dawson. Takes her out of the play, gives a perfect pass to Z in the corner, and Z knocks that thing down. And again, this zoom in here is going to give you an even better perspective of just how much attention Courtney got here. So I mentioned that she had a lot of paint touches in the third quarter, and because she was doing so frequently, this is the type of attention that snowballed from the New York Liberty's defense. Look at all the attention. She got 4 bodies on her in one space. And then Z's just absolutely wide open for this three. All right, so this is the very next defensive possession for the Sky after that basket off of their Spain pick and roll action. So after tagging up on the initial pass from out of bounds, the inbound to slow down any type of momentum or tempo that the opposing defense or the opposing offense, can flow into, Courtney Vandersloot was able to get back into the action after they swung second side and came back over here to go into the screen action for Dangerfield. And she's going under, Courtney Vandersloot is. And as she's doing so, you see her get back into position as Z stops the momentum of Dangerfield for Courtney to get under and then get back into position. There's only one pass available to make at this point because the Sky have done a great job with their rotations. And Courtney does an excellent job just standing in play and getting her hands in there to contest the angle of the pass, which is something that the Sky do as well as any other team does in the WNBA defensively, and they get a steal here. All right, so the next play, we're gonna go ahead and let this one flow through, and then we'll break it down. Nasty. All right, so after this play broke down, they get into in the middle of the shot clock, so they still got enough time to run sets and make plays. So they're gonna end up flowing into spread pick and roll with Ruthie Hebert setting a nice, really more so a flat screen than it is more of a just a regular pick and roll. And Sluty does a great job as always, coming off at a good angle to give herself a chance to make a play on the other side of it. And it's Onyenwere that's in a drop for Courtney here. So as she gets downhill, she gives her an excellent hesitation move here to just get Onyenwere to close in that space just a little bit more. And then as she does so, again, the finer details with Courtney, she does a great job getting low and exploding off of that outside foot. Also uses her inside hand, which you'll see a little bit more on the zoom in on the next frame, to generate a little bit more separation for her to get to this extended arm finish to beat the contest and get a nice play off the glass to finish the play. So here we go on the zoom in, you'll see it a little bit better. She gets north, here goes the hesitation. You see the airspace get closed, which is exactly what she wants. Look at the offhand activity, all helping to gain just enough of an advantage in separation to give her enough space to get this thing off the glass. And she hits her spot, puts great English on it, beautiful finish. And again, look at the face. Look at the face. This is how you know she was in her bag. This is just that expression of where you just out there flowing, you're doing things without thinking, you're just making things happen. And this was one of those moments where I could really tell again that she was back and she was in her bag. This is priceless. All right, so this next one we're gonna go ahead and let it flow through, and then we'll break it down after. All right, so this specific play here was just absolute poetry in motion. So I'll talk about Emma Meeson being the ultimate connector in the WNBA, being able to get things from point A to point B when things break down, or as a secondary playmaker, just being just such a perfect release valve to have. And here it was a prime example of it. So they go empty in front to an empty side pick and roll here in transition. And then Sluty comes off. She hits Emma with an absolute beautiful pocket pass, dragging this out as pretty much as far as she possibly can. And as she does so, Emma understands that Zoo is coming over. She doesn't need much space to get back into a play because of her absolute length and just being tall. And she understands that that window for her to score is not really going to be there, but she also feels the pressure from this paint touch off of the pocket pass from Sluty, that there's a lot of attention on her, and that the weak side corner has been conceded just to help over. This is essentially overhelp because Zoo is there, and they take full advantage of the overhelp again as Emma swings this over to Allie, the best shooter in the WNBA, and she just knocks this down off of a great pass. Look at this poetry in motion here. Just beautiful basketball here. Yeah, the pace, the location of these passes, and the timing, it was just absolutely beautiful. All right, so this next one we're gonna let it flow through, and then we'll break it back down. All right, there's a lot going on here in the finer details of things. So as Ludi comes off of this screen here from Hebert, again another hesitation, just buying time as the defenders step up out of their drop to close the airspace off of a potential pull up from Sluty. She takes full advantage of that, mesmerizes them with the slowed down pace, and then does a great job changing that pace to generate an advantage. Boom! She takes one dribble here. She's already got the advantage as far as beating Zoo to the point that she wants to get to. But it's this extra dribble here. There's really like a finer detail as far as speaking of players who have a great handle. Like if she picks up this dribble here off of this first one right here, there's no way she's gonna get to where she needs to be as far as her pickup point and being able to get to the basket and finish, especially trying to get through this stunt over here from Howard, who's helping at the nail. So it's this extra dribble, this extra pound here, boom. And then she gets into her running back mode where she's covering up the ball to protect it. So she's able to get to the spot that she can to get off of her left foot and to get this thing off the glass and beat the contestant that's coming from behind and chasing. And it's just beautiful, finer details from Sluty here. Just watching her work and watching her field return after it wasn't there in the game prior, and just seeing her be able to get back to doing the things that makes her the absolute best point guard in the WNBA. Just a beautiful thing to watch her orchestrate and self-create and also create for others and find that blend. Makes the Sky as hard to guard as any team in the WNBA. All right, so this next one, we're gonna let this one flow through and then break it down after as well. Tough, absolutely tough. All right, so as I mentioned in the opening frame on the very first play, off of all screens, regardless of the location of the screen or regardless of who the ball handler was, New York Liberty were going under initially and then going over the second screen if another screen did come. So after this play kind of broke down, the Sky flowed into rescreen action again with Courtney Vandersloot and Emma Mieseman. So here you see the under from Johannes. And then Sluty does a good job setting her up to get past this next screen. She takes an extra dribble. And I believe truly that she wanted to get this pass to Z earlier as she sees Big Mama Steph Dawson tagging over on Emma as she drags these two defenders from the Liberty on her dribble drive and she gets a paint touch. She wants to get this pass to her around right now, but because she has two and the angle's not there and the length of both of the defenders, she can't get this pass there as soon as she wants to. Especially with Z doing a great job in lifting to try to create as much of an angle for this pass as she can. So because the timing is a little bit stagnated off of good defense as they trap off of this hedge essentially, she does a good job eventually getting it over to Z, but because, again, the timing is a little off, that allows Big Mama Steph to go from tagging the roller to getting back to her closeout in good space and then doing a good job and sliding and taking away this angle on the attempt to drive from Z. So just good job defending from the Liberty here, really, honestly, messing up the timing and kind of mucking up this play in the half court. But then again, Sluty being arguably the absolute best clutch player in the WNBA this season, is able to absolutely make something out of nothing. And this was essentially the dagger in the game. One of absolutely a long compilation of daggers that Courtney Vandersloot has hit this season. She's having an unbelievable season in the clutch. And just in general, just as a point guard, having a sense and feel for her teammates, what sets to call, what plays to call to generate advantages, who to get the ball to in certain moments, and just being that just the best point guard in the W. It was just beautiful to see her bring that dynamic back to the team. Even with Candace not being in the fold for this game, they were able to generate a lot of advantages, get good looks and shot quality, and a lot of that was generated just off the presence alone of Courtney Vandersloot, the best point guard in the WNBA.